Hello friends, let's discuss the MBO, that is the management by objective. So see, the phrase management by objective, that is MBO, was coined by Peter F. Drucker. Okay, so who coined the term MBO, management by objective? Remember the name, Peter F. Drucker, and the first appeared in his book The Practice of the Management, which was published in 1954. So three things you have to remember here, right? First is what? Who coined the term MBO? The MBO term was given by Peter F. Drucker. Okay, so remember the name. And in his book, The Practice of the Management. Now see, the management by objective is the process. What is the MBO? It is the management by objective, and it is the process that is used for the goal planning and the establishment of the clear parameter for these goals. Okay, so what do you mean by MBO? See here, simple. MBO means what? First you understand. MBO is the term MBO coined by Peter F. Drucker in his book The Practice of the Management. And the MBO means it is what? It is the process. What is MBO? Management by objective. It is the process. It is used for the goal planning. Now, why MBO is used? The important thing you have to remember. It is used for the goal planning, right? And the establishment of a clear parameter for those goals. And what? For those goals, you have to establish the parameters. Got it? What does mean by the MBO? MBO is the process. It is the process. See, MBO, it is the process. MBO is the process where you have to do the goal planning, and for that you have to establish the parameter, and all together this process you can call the MBO. Got it? This is very basic about the MBO. In short, what is MBO? MBO means basically the planning the goals, goal planning. Okay. Now see, MBO technique refer to the management and the employees working together to jointly establish, record, and then monitor the goals for a particular period of time. Simply, what is MBO technique? Now here we are talking about the MBO technique. MBO technique means what? What is the MBO technique? It is simply again the management and the employee, they will come together for what? They will establish jointly the goals, they will record and monitor the goals. Okay, and over the particular period of time. This is simply the MBO technique. Okay, now see what you have to understand here. MBO process. So how MBO process, that is management by objective, see in detail. See, MBO process, how the process flows, right? So see here, first is what? Establishes the goal and desired outcome for each subordinate in conference between the management and the concerned subordinate. Okay, what is first step in the process? Simply you remember establishment of the goal. Second is what? Setting the performance standard, right? So first is what? You will establish the goal. For example, in any company, say bank, you will have the goal. For example, you will achieve the 100% targets they have given. Basically means what? Setting the goals. Setting performance standard means what? More than 80% will be the good employees, like that. More than 70% will be the okay employees. Less than 60% are on the red zone. Okay, like that they can set the performance standard. Okay, next is asset performance achieved against the goals set for the employees through the frequent performance review meeting between the manager and the subordinate. Means what? Simply see, first you are establishing the goals, right? First you establish goal, then you set some performance standard, then you assess the performance, how you are going to achieve it, right? We will assess what you are doing right now. Okay, simply you will assess the performance. How you can assess? Simply you are very much familiar about the review meetings of the manager in the zonal offices, right? So review meeting between the manager and the subordinate, here we can say for bank, it is between the regional manager and the branch managers. Okay, now this is what? For the purpose of assessing the performance. Now identify the reasons for shortfall and give feedback for the improvement. So in the review meeting, they will identify the reason why you are not able to achieve the targets, and they will give you some feedback. Then after that, the feedback, they will establish the new goals. Okay, you are not able to achieve this, now this is new goal for you. Okay, and a new strategy they may give for the upcoming period. Okay, so this is how the MBO process work. right? You just correlate with the banking, you will get the MBO process. Very easy. Okay, very simple. I will recall it. Simply establish the goal, set the standards, assess the performance by the meetings, and identify the reason for the shortfall, give the feedback, and establish the new goal based on the feedback, right? This is simply the MBO process. Now see here, the key concept of a MBO. What do you mean by key concept of management by objective? See, planning is the central idea behind the MBO. What is MBO? Planning the goals. So that's why you can say planning is the central idea behind the management by objective. It implies that the organization and the people who make up the organization aren't just responding the incidents and the issue, rather they are being proactive and taking preventive measures. Employees are allowed to define the measurable personal goals in accordance with the corporate goal to fulfill the criteria of MBO. So what do you mean by here? Simply understand here. What are the concept of the MBO? MBO means what here? Here individual goals will be given. Apart from that, that individual goals will be in line with the goals of the organization. Okay, so there will be individual growth also and the growth of organization also, and that all together must be in line with the mission objective of the mission or objective or vision of the organization. Got it? So individual goal or the goal of a company, that must be in line with the whatever the mission objective or vision of the company. Okay, now see, through example you will get better clarity. Suppose see, the housing division of the any infrastructure company might assign the civil engineer subdivision headed by the chief engineer with target of completing the infrastructure of a housing project within next 12 months. So simply there is one company and there is one subdivision, right? Civil engineer subdivision, and the head of that division is chief engineer. Okay, and to that company has given target that you complete the project within 12 months. Okay, now see here, the individual goal in this case must align with the organizational goal to accomplish the subdivision's target. Okay, whatever is the goal of that individual, say goal given to the chief engineer, that must be in line with the goal of the company, right? And need to coordinate it to the to work with overall organization goal, which are managed and supervised by the process of MBO. So simply see, what is goal given to here chief manager, to complete the project within 12 months. So he must communicate that goal to his colleagues so that they can work their worker, right? So that must be communicated to the sub staff or subordinate. Then the manager need to sit down to write the goals periodically and should continue to monitor the goals closely to track the process. So here we refer the chief engineer will be the manager, right? So he will be checking it whether how much work has been done today, how much work is being remaining, how we can achieve the targets within the period of 12 months, right? So that basically monitored by the manager. Okay, now see, what do you mean by the MBO? So there are basically 5 steps in the MBO technique. Okay, management by objective in practice. So practically if we are talking now, then we can say there are 5 steps in the MBO technique. Okay, first is what? First, very simple, you have to establish or change the goals. Okay, so very first step always will be what? Establishment of the goals. And if you already have the goals, then you can change the goals for a whole company, right? So what is first step? First step is to have or to establish. If you are having already, then you can alter the goals of the organization. Company's mission and the vision should serve as the basis for developing this. So obviously, what is company's mission? What is the vision? That should be the basis, on the basis of which you can set the goal for the organization, right? Now see, second step is to communicate to the employee about the goals. Okay, first you establish the goal, right? In second step you have to communicate that goal to the employee and prioritize and a priority of the organization. So in 1981 the George T. Doran used the acronym SMART. Okay, we have already discussed that SMART in the previous session, right? SMART stands for specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, so this is the SMART. Okay, remember the full form of the SMART. SMART is the specific, measurable, acceptable, realistic, and time bound. Okay, so that SMART term was basically given by George T. Doran. Okay, that name also you have to remember. Okay, so what are the steps in the MBO technique? First, you have to establish the goal. Second, simply you have to communicate that goal to your employees, right, your colleague. Okay, now next, third step is what? Third step is what? Very simple. It is very simple, to encourage the participation from the staff member in the process of the setting the individual goals. Okay, what is third step? To encourage the participation from the staff member for the purpose of individual goal. First, you have set the goal for the company. In second step, you are communicating that goal to the employees, and in third step, you are setting the individual goals. Okay, and it is very, very important, you have to encourage the staff member for participation in the individual goals. Okay, because of this, employee will have the greater empowerment, which increase their level of motivation. So if you are feeling, you individually, suppose manager tells to you, you are the good employee and you have to individually achieve the 50,000 fee income for the bank, so you will feel somehow motivated, because manager say, our bank is relying on you, or branch is relying on you, so you have to do. Okay, so like that you can feel the motivation. Okay, now next, the monitoring of the process made by the staff member is the focus of the fourth step. So what is fourth step? What is the progress that have to be monitored? This is the fourth step. Okay, I recall the steps. First is establishment of the organization's goal. Second is what? Second is communication of that goals, and the third is what? Third is the individual goals, and fourth is what? Monitoring the process. Okay, these are the four steps in the MBO technique. Okay, now see here, fifth is what? See, fifth step is what? To evaluate and then reward the process that the employees have made. This step is based on the honest feedback given by each worker regarding what was accomplished and what was not. So simply, see, fifth step is only what? About the evaluation, giving the feedback or rewarding those who have done the good work. Okay, so this is very simple. Okay, fifth step is very interesting. Okay, now see, there are some other steps also which we can include in the MBO. Okay, now first is what? Organizational goal. See, any organization have basic goals. First goal is what? You have to survive, that is the first goal. Second is what? You have to earn the profit, and third is the growth. Okay, so basic three steps are there in every organization goal. Okay, now for example, every bank first it will try to survive, right? Because then bank will try to make the profit, then bank will try to make the growth. Okay, like that you can compare for any company. Okay, now see, what are the organization goal? Simply, the process of setting the goal requires the participation from the wide variety of the manager in the variety of the role. The supervisor decide the organization's provisional goal after making the interpretation and the evaluation of what organization is capable to accomplish. So basically, you just remember here, first, what are the some steps in the MBO? Or there must be different types of goal, right? Goal at the organizational level, goal at individual level, like that. Okay, so goal at the organization level. Okay, what is the goal of your organization? That is what basically setting the goal. Okay, so basic goal, I can say, first goal of any organization is should be survival, then it will try to make the profit, then it will try to make the growth. Okay, now who will set that goal? Different managers in the different variety of the role, they are going to participate for the goal setting of the organization. Okay, next is employee objective. What is the employee objective? Simply, see, establishing the employees individual goals once the employee are informed about the common goal. So what is common goal? Organization goal will be the first, you have to priority. Second, you have to establish the goal for that individual level. Okay, like employee objective means simply the individual level goals, right? Now subordinates will tell the manager about their goal, including which goal they can accomplish within certain amount of time and with what resources. So obviously, when you set the individual goals, right, first you, the employee or a subordinate staff, will communicate to their manager what I can have the capacity, what resources I will use, and then what the goal I can achieve, right? Based on that, manager will allocate the individual goal. Okay, so for any employee, say, how he can give the goals by his own mind? No, he has to take the feedback first, right? Based on his, the manager can allocate the individual goals. Okay, very simple. Organization goal and the employee objective means individual goals, right? Now Next is what? The monitoring the performance and the progress. Means what? See, it is also see, very simple. You have to monitor the performance and the progress. Very simple. So it is essential to increase the effectiveness of the manager. However, it is also necessary to keep a close eye on the performance and the development of each individual employee in the organization. Okay, so it is very important. Performance and the progress must be monitored. Next is very simple. Evaluation of the performance means you have to review. Performance review are carried out with the participation of the relevant manager. So you will evaluate what is the performance done by your staff, right? So next is what? Simply the feedback. Feedback enables the employee to track the improve and to track and improve the very important step in the management by objective process, to give feedback continuously on the objective and the results. So feedback is very, very important, right? Why? See, there is continuous feedback is important. Continuous means, say if you are having the target for for 12 months, say for yearly targets you are having, so every quarter you are taking the review meetings, right? So that is what we can say, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, every quarter you are taking the review for the yearly targets. That means it is a continuous feedback, right? So feedback is important. Okay, for example, if any branch is there, if any rural branch is there, right, and in the rural branch you are giving target for the housing loan, so it is very rare cases in the rural branch you will get housing loan, because in the rural area people already have their own houses, so big housing loan target in the rural area will not find, right? So this is the feedback the manager has to give to the regional managers, like that. Okay, very simple. So I recall the different additional steps we have discussed in the MBO technique. First, there should be organization goal. Second is employee objective, means individual employees goal. Then monitoring and the performance progress, then evaluation of the performance, and simply the feedback. Okay, now what do you mean by continuous feedback? I repeat, it is typically supplemented by the formal evaluation meeting on the regular basis. So continuous feedback means continuously you have to give the feedback, simply. And how? For that you will continue, you will take the review meeting. It should be on the regular basis, so we can say it is a continuous feedback. Okay, after as this meeting, superiors and the subordinates can discuss the progress that have been made toward the objective, which ultimately result in the greater deal of feedback. Okay, so very simple. Continuous feedback means continuous meeting with a regular basis. Very simple. Okay, now next is appraisal. So performance review consists of the regular examination of accomplishment of the staff member as a part of the MBO. So obviously based on the performance there must be appraisal. Okay, that will lead to a personal and the professional growth also. Okay, now we will see what are the limitations, what are the disadvantages basically, or the limitations of the MBO. Okay, now see, MBO means are basically having targets and steps to achieve the target. Okay, now yeah, in that what are the disadvantages or the limitations? See, MBO approach disregard the culture of the organization as well as working condition. So because they are focusing on the targets, so they will discard the culture and the working condition. Then goals and the targets receive greater amount of attention. So here the process itself it is based on the targets, so that's why goal and target will receive the more attention, and manager forget about the employee's willingness to contribute, right? Also the pressure on the worker is here the foregone. Okay, now manager will frequently place the greater emphasis on the goal setting because it is concept based on the goal, right? MBO approach does not place a strong emphasis on the significance of the environment, so they are not worried about the environment, okay, in which they are going to formulate the objective or the goal. So they are the context encompasses the availability of the resources, efficiency, etc. So means what? See, they are not worried about the environment. See, when you get the targets, when you get the target from say head office for the every branch, so they are not aware about the what is the actual scene in the branch, right? So they will allocate the target. That means what happen? See, manager will get more tension, more pressure, because if suppose in the rural branch they got a housing loan target of 200 CR, how the manager can achieve that? Okay, so basically MBO approaches does not place a strong emphasis on the significance of the environment. They are not aware about the environment in which the objective or the goals are being formulated. So it may be the resources or the efficiency. So that manager may be handicap manager, right? He may have some his health issues, so he is not that much of capable to drive the business for the branch. Okay, so efficiency is not being is here compromised. Then available resources, it can be a big deal in achieving the business, right? So these are what limitations for the MBO. Next is what the manager, many managers think that MBO as a comprehensive system, they can address and all the so it may happen manager think that I have MBO and only MBO can solve my all the problem. Okay, MBO means setting the targets. Okay, simply. So whether it is fine? No, it is not fine, right? So over dependence on the MBO can bring problems that discourage any potential positive impact it could be made. Okay, so that can lead to the negative effect also. Okay, so now we see the positive things about the MBO. Okay, now see, it is a process. It provide a mean for the determining the one's goal and the planning to achieve this goal. What it provide? It provide the means. What do you mean by means? Means basically the ways. It provide a way. It provide a path. For what? Determining the goal and the planning. For what? To achieve that goal. Okay, so that's why MBO is important. It enable one to achieve the one proactive manner and to approach the accomplishment of a goal in disciplined manner. So it is a complete process, right? So it give you the goals and it also approach for achieving the goal in the disciplined manner, and it gives the ability to plan on unforeseen circumstances and the limitations. So if you have a good MBO process, then you can plan the circumstances in the businesses. Then it enables the prediction of the contingency plan and the strategy for overcoming the roadblock or the difficulty. So the MBO process can have the contingency plan. Contingency plan means if there is some, for example, if you are working in the branch, right, if there is heavy rainfall, then how can you go to the branch? How can open you the branch, right? How can you serve the customers, right? How can run you the branch in the heavy rainfall? That is what contingency plan you should have, right? And strategies for overcoming the difficulty you may face in the business that can be done or that can be overcome by the way of MBO. And then next is what? See, the goals are effectively set, managed, and organization will improve the efficiency due to the MBO. MBO is more effective use of the available resources. So MBO uses whatever the resources you are having that can be effectively used by the way of MBO. Okay, employee emphasis on the most important aspect of the result. So we are mainly focusing on the result. Okay, in case of a MBO. Okay, now what are the disadvantages of MBO? One by one again. We have discussed the first limitations, then advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantages basically you can say limitations again, right? So disadvantages of the MBO. It is a time consuming. Setting the goal, it is a process is a time consuming. The MBO program require to elaborate the written goals, careful communication of the goal, detailed performance appraisal of all which contribute increase in the amount of paperwork in the organization. So basically due to the MBO, the paperwork increases. The amount of paperwork increases, right? Next, to achieve the success, it is necessary for all employees to work together. So all employees must need to work together, then only you can see the result, because there are individual goals, right? Next, goals cannot be goals can be the out of date and put damper on the employee's ability to take initiative. So if you are setting the goals, for example, you are having the goal to have a 50,000 fee income. So if you have that goal, so it may damper the ability. So if you have the capacity to set the 25,000 of the fee income, you can achieve it. But if your target is only 50, so it can damper the ability of the employee. Okay, sometimes goal can be the out of date. It may happen, right? Next, too much multitasking can result in the inefficiency. So in the MBO process, too much multitasking is required. That's why that may result into the inefficiency. The ability of the subordinate to feel at ease. So the inability of the subordinate to feel at ease. So this may happen, right? Sometimes the subordinate to feel at sometimes subordinate staff will not going to work as per the expectations of the managers, right? So this is what inability of the subordinate to feel at ease. So then is there is no flexibility in the MBO, right? It might be it might make the worker lives more difficult and frustrating. Okay, so because it is individual targets are there, lot of difficulties can be there, right? MBO is an approach based on the rewards and the sanction. Means what? If you do the good work, you will get the reward. If you are not doing the work, as per the MBO, not setting the target, not fulfilling the target, then you will be sanctioned. Means what? You will get whatever you are getting, that will be cut down, sanctions, restrictions basically, right? So these are the disadvantages. Apart from that, MBO sometime might lack the appreciation by the employee. So there is lack of appreciation, it may happen in case of the MBO. Okay, so these are basically the disadvantage of the MBO process. Okay, now we will see the plan components. Okay, so see, an organization include to achieve the goals. Planning is essential. We already discussed it. Planning is essential. Now, what are the components of the planning? We will discuss one by one. So see here, components of the planning. First is what we can say objective or the goal, then policy or overview, then procedure or directions, rules, then programs or the methods, budget or the funding, time schedule, core value, mission or vision of a company. SWOT analysis means what? The strength, weaknesses, opportunity and threat in the market. That is a SWOT analysis and the management. Okay, so here one by one we have to discuss. Okay, so these are what the key the major components of the planning. If you are doing the planning, then that must be included in the planning. Then you can see this the components of the planning, very basic. Okay, you don't need to mug up. Okay, now we will discuss what do you mean by the environmental analysis. Okay, environmental analysis. So see here. So friends, what do you mean by environmental analysis? See, environmental analysis refer to the examine all the factors, it may be the external or the internal, that have impact on the performance of the organization. This can be done systematically and the qualitatively. Okay, so what is environmental analysis? Means simply what you are doing, you are examining what are the factors. It may be external factor, it may be the internal factor. Okay, internal factor means what? Say different working conditions of the staff, right? Then hierarchy in the organization, like that. External means political scenario in the country, right? Taxes in the country. These are the external factor and some are internal factor. So that you have to examine, and that is basically what the environmental analysis means. See, if any for example, see the Citibank from the USA, Citibank from the USA want to open the branch in the India, in the say Mumbai. Okay, so they will do the environmental analysis. How is the political stability in the India, right? Whether it is good to open the banks in the India, how are the regulations by the RBI in the India. So that all they will do analysis. That is basically what the environmental analysis. Okay, now see the opportunity and the threat, that are the external to the organization, whereas the strength and the vulnerability are the internal component. So friends, see here further, if you want to know about the external and internal, see what are the opportunity in the market and what are the threats in the market. These are what? External factors, right? And what is the strength of your employee in the organization, and what is the vulnerability, and what are the internal components you are having. These are basically the internal factors. Okay, so what is the strength of your employee, right? You are having dedicated employee, and the vulnerability. Okay, these are the internal factors, you can say. Okay, so very easy, right? Now environmental analysis. Now see here, what are the advantages of environmental analysis? Environmental analysis means, simply say, suppose you have to open a factory. Okay, you have to open the factory in say Rajasthan. Then what you will do? You will do first the environmental analysis. Means what? Whether how is the rules of the state Rajasthan, right? What are the taxes in the Rajasthan? What are they are having the pollution rules in the Rajasthan? So different analysis you are going to do. This is basically the environmental analysis. Now what are the advantages of it? It contribute to the accomplishment of the goal, right? It is having some contribution for the goals of the organization. It identify and analyzes the potential danger. So you are obviously you are doing the environmental analysis, you will get idea about the potential danger in the business at that place. It helps to understand the development in the commercial environment. It create awareness about the impending dangers of every prospective opportunity. Okay, so what are the upcoming chances of the danger that can be get aware in case of the environmental analysis. It make the prediction about the future because you are doing the analysis. It help in the recognition of a potential danger and the potential benefit also, right? Now what are the environmental analysis steps? One by one, see here. We are having identification first, identifying, then scanning, then analyzing, and the forecasting. Okay, so that steps you can remember easily because these are important. Okay, so first identify, scan, analyze, and forecast. Okay, identification, scanning, analyzing, and forecasting. Okay, now see, one by one we have to discuss it. Okay, so see, what do you mean by PESTEL analysis? See, these are the steps in the environmental analysis: identifying, scanning, analyzing, and the forecasting. So friends, next we have to discuss is the PESTEL analysis. What do you mean by PESTEL analysis? PESTEL is means what? See, PESTEL is the analysis. If any company want to set the business, right, then that company always do the PESTEL analysis. Okay, so PESTEL is basically the environmental analysis, you can say, right? So it is type of analysis. So different types of analysis we have to discuss. We have to discuss the SWOT analysis. We have to discuss the PESTEL analysis, right? Environmental analysis. So like that, we will now discuss the PESTEL analysis. So it is an indispensable resource for the environment, for the development of the business strategy and the plan. It is the method for evaluating the business environment. So PESTEL analysis means you are going to evaluate how is the environment for your doing the business. Okay, so in what do you mean by PESTEL then? See, here PESTEL analysis, through graph you can easily come to know. See, PESTEL refer to the following 6 internal factor that can have impact on the your company. So PESTEL analysis, see, PESTLE, these are the 6 internal factors. Okay, so one by one. P for political, E for economical, S for social, T for technological, and L for legal, and E for the environmental. So any company want to set a business, they always first do the PESTEL analysis. Means what? Political, economic, social, technological, legal, and the environmental. Okay, so PESTEL analysis, broadly you can say some economic factors are there, socio-cultural factors are there, political and legal factor, technological factor. So these combined you can say we have done the PESTEL analysis. So understand here. First, why do PESTEL analysis? Any company want to set the business, always do the PESTEL analysis. Okay, P for political, E for economic, S for social, T for technological, E for legal, and F for the environmental. Okay, now one by one we have to discuss that all the detail. Okay, so see, through graphical way you can get it better way: political, environmental, social, technological, legal, environmental. Now first, political factor we will discuss. Okay, so political factor reflect the stability in the political environment, right? This includes the corruption among the political party, or specific, or any laws like a labor law, or any trade restriction or trade tariffs, that is taxes, or the political stability. For example, if I have to set a company for the car manufacturing in the Pakistan, whether I will check whether what is the political stability, whether there is a political stability. There is no political stability, anytime military can take over the control, right? So there is lot of corruption, who the labor laws are there, how the tax structure is there, so political stability. So whether that all things will come under the political factor. Okay, very easy. Okay, now banking sector looks all powerful, but its success it is susceptible to the bigger giant, the government. Okay, we are very much aware government is having majority stake in the public sector bank. Also government is having highest power to regulate the all the bank in the India. Okay, so government law affect the state in the state of the banking sector. So we can say government, if any the government order, we have to follow. Every bank, whether it is private or the government bank, obviously you have to follow PSB, but the private banks also have a large impact on the government. Okay, so the government can intervene in the matter of banking whenever they want, and leaving the industry susceptible to the political influence. So that's why for any, if you say any foreign bank, say Hong Kong, say HSBC bank, okay, if that foreign bank want to open the branches in India, they will check the political factors in India. Okay, what is the corruption, what are the labor law, what are the trade restriction and tariff taxes, what is the political stability. So these factors are nothing but the political factor. Okay, now next is what? P we have done. Now E for the environmental, E for the economical, sorry. Okay, last is environmental, second is for the economical. Now economic factor means what? These are basically having the direct impact on the potential attractiveness of the various strategy. For example, say if interest rate are high, then funds needed for the capital expansion becomes costlier, right? So macroeconomic factor means what? Unemployment, like that, okay, or GDP of the country will have effect on the success of the strategy. Economic factor include inflation rate, interest rate, tariffs, growth rate of the local or the foreign national economy, exchange rate of that country, unemployment in the country, availability of the labor. Okay, so these are what the economic factor. So see, if you have to settle the company, for example, say India, so you will check what is the inflation in India, what is the interest rate in India. If I have to take the loan in India for my company, what are the interest rate there, what are the tariffs there, what is the growth rate there of India, whether it is good. I have to suppose at the car company, if the growth rate is good, the people will purchase more car. Then what is the foreign national economy, right? Then what are the exchange rates, what is the price of dollar versus Indian rupees, that I have to take care, right? That means what are the unemployment rate, whether there will be any burden on my company. So depending on that, these are what basically the economic factor. Okay, that analysis also is being done. Now next we have to discuss is yes means social. It is very easy. Socio-cultural factor. Socio-cultural factor means what? See, these include like a local language. See, I have to set a company, for example, in Tamil Nadu, right? So it is very important. I should have the worker which understands the Tamil language. Otherwise, it is very hard to survive in Tamil Nadu, right? So local language is important. Then dominant religions I have to take care. If I am setting a company in the religion, dominant religion must be taken care, right? So if you are setting in the company in the Pakistan, right, you should not have the policy which are against the Muslim community. So that religion must be taken care. Then leisure time, age, demographic, environmentalism, these are different socio-cultural factor. Role of men and women also, right? If you are working in the Saudi Arabia, then role of women is very less there, they are not allowed, right? So that all factor you have to consider in the businesses. These are what basically the socio-cultural factors. Okay, nothing to explain much more because it is easy. Next is the technological. T for the technological means what? See, technological is having important role. The internet is changing the nature of opportunity and threat by altering the life cycle of the product, increasing the speed of distribution, creating the new product, and then erasing the reach of traditional geographic market. Okay, so technology may lower the production cost and improve the quality, create the product and service innovations, reduces the communication cost and increase the remote working. Okay, so and also it changes or alters the distribution network. So basically due to the technology there is having lot of impact. Okay, so see, I am teaching you, so there is internet. By the way of internet I can teach you. I am at my home, you are at your home. Okay, so we can communicate using the technology, so you don't need to come physically to go to the classes, right? So technology is having very important role in the businesses. Okay, so very simple, you understand here. Due to the technology you will get less production cost, right? There is improvement in the quality due to the standard SOPs, right? Standard operating procedures. It create the product and services service innovations, right? Also due to this remote working is also possible and distribution can be more effective due to the technology. So basically you are very much aware, right? So technology have the important role in the businesses. Now in short, these factor may change the face of the business landscape. Okay, so technology is having the wide scope in the every business, right? So if you are having the technology, right, then it can change the face of the business also. Okay, now next is what we have discussed is the environmental factor. Okay, technological factor, environmental factor, and I have to legal factor. Okay, so here first I will discuss the legal factor. Okay, technological we have discussed. Now legal we will discuss legal factor. Okay, then we will discuss lastly environmental. Now legal means what? Very easy. Legal means what are the laws and regulations in that country, right? Then these factors include whether or not a rule of law is well established, how they can change the cost of regulatory compliance also they have to consider. See, legal factor means what? Suppose you have to set a company. I will repeat in this North Korea. Okay, so Jim Kim Yong, so whether it is a good, whether there is a laws or regulation, so you are have to bound what are the dictator they are say in the North Korea, right? So it is very hard to do the business in such a country, right? Apart from that, we have to understand whether rule of law is well established or not. In North Korea, it is obviously not, right? So anytime they can change. If they early in the morning, the Jim Kim Yong woke up, he can change the rule directly 180 degree, right? He is dictator. So the cost of regulatory and apart from that, what is the regulatory compliance, what is the cost for it, that must be taken care. Okay, so that are the legal factors. Okay, legal means simply remember the different laws and regulation in that country, right? So that must you have to be taken care. For example, say if you are doing the banking business, right? If you are doing banking in the say Dubai, right? In Dubai, right? So in Dubai, see they generally the Muslim community is there, and they are not accepting the interest in their saving account. So they don't want, they are following the some their community laws, so they are not allowed to take the interest. So that much of you have to take care. Okay, so these are what the legal factors. Okay, legal factor means simply you whether you, where you are going to set the business, their laws and regulation, how it impact your business. Okay, that are the legal. Now next and last we have to discuss is the environmental factor. Okay, what are the environmental factor? Simply environmental means simply environmental. For example, say previously it was very much concerned about the raw material. So whether raw material, whether what raw material you are taking, for example, by cutting the trees. Okay, previously it was only the concern about the raw material supplying to the industry was only considered as the environmental factor. Now we have to go beyond that, right? So today this factor may include like a firm's footprint on the respective environment. Okay, use of a technology for particularly say mobile banking app, use of the paper is being reduced. See, basically previously what happened, only raw material is to be supposed to be the factor for the environmental consideration, right? For example, if you are having the paper mill, then how much tree you are cutting, so that will be the factor. Now see, in the even banking also we are having mobile banking apps, right? So people will not fill the form, right? They will use technology, so use of paper is reduced, so it is environment friendly, right? Apart from that, additionally need to drive directly to the branch to handle affair is minimized as well. So due to the mobile banking app, people don't want to don't need to visit the branches, right? So there is saving in the petrol, so it is environment friendly, right? So many issues are taken care of through the mobile banking application or the mobile application or online banking services. Consumer can apply for the credit card, debit card online. They can purchase, they can buy a gift check and a gift card online. Okay, so due to this the less paper will be used, and that is good for the environment, right? So reducing environmental footprints, so very easy, right? Environmental factor means how your business is giving some footprints for the environment. Okay, now there is new concept is there, right? Green lending, remember there is a new concept in the banking, green lending. Okay, now banks are coming in front for lending money to the projects which are environmental friendly. For example, solar energy projects are there, right? Or wind energy projects are there, then some biogas plants are there. Okay, so for that the banks are giving money. These are referred as the green lending basically. Okay, so these are the environmental factor. Apart from that, now there is a new you are very much familiar, the EVs are coming, right? Now the word is of EV, future is EV. So banks are also giving loans for purchasing the EV at the reduced interest rate. Okay, these are what the environmental factors, right? So that also you have to consider. Okay, now we have discussed all the PESTEL. Now here I will give brief idea about PESTEL analysis again, so that it will be your in the mind forever. Okay, so just see here what I am telling. P for the political means what are taxes, right? Brexit is the best example, political, how Britain has been exited, right? Now what are the trade policy, stability, government policy. Now E for the economical means the macroeconomic factor like inflation, exchange rates, interest rate, unemployment, these are the economical. Then social means what? what is the lifestyle attitude of that country, population, health consciousness, right, religion, like that. Then T for the technological, means what, see how is the automation, how basically technology is being used, technology, internet, etc. L is for the legal, means what are the employment laws, what is the any health or safety laws, copyright laws, these are what, the legal. Then E for the environmental, means what is the weather there, how climate is changing, how the NGO pressure is there, how recycling is being done, pollution, system, these are what, the environmental, regarding to the environment. Okay, so these are the, this is what basically the PESTEL analysis. Okay, you can subscribe us on the YouTube, you can download the Bank of Zone application, link is given in the description. This is for our CIB group on the Telegram, this is our channel for the notes in the Telegram. Okay, so thank you friends, we'll continue our discussion in the next session.